There's a feeling I get watching the films of Federico Fellini at their most sublime, that I've become the light illuminating the frames. It is the short but deep experience that some secret part of me is giving life to the screen, which then in turn revitalizes me. In this video, I want to look at what I consider to be an immensely important but increasingly obscure element of the art of storytelling, the art of enchantment. It is the experience we have in our encounter with something outside of ourselves, through which, with a shock, we suddenly recognize the same mysterious spark of life which flashes through us. It is a highly charged encounter in which both parties ignite. An enchanting work of art invites its audience to bring something of ourselves, which it then returns to us in spades. It refreshes our perceptions and revitalizes our relationship with life. This has become of increasing importance in the disenchanted modern age. Max Weber blamed our conviction that everything in life can be explained in the light of our reason for blinding us to the mysteries and magic of life. The mysteries have not disappeared from the modern world. We have simply lost our ability to see them. Disenchanted people make a disenchanting world, which then, again, disenchants us. In this devitalizing downward spiral, the greatest effect an artist can achieve is to re-enchant his audience with life. Our problem is that the experience of enchantment is wild. It cannot be created or controlled any more than we can curate the experience of falling in love. What we can do is to open our audience and ourselves to the possibilities of wonder. Our task is to create the conditions for enchantment, and for the rest of this video, we'll explore how Federico Fellini does just that. We will not encounter enchantment through the familiar tools of our reasonable minds. It requires us to let go of certainties and to turn towards mystery, to be possessed by the unknown.
Nel momento in cui faccio il mio lavoro, un oscuro abitatore prende le redini della baracca e io metto a disposizione soltanto la mia voce, ma è un altro però che ha veramente, un altro con cui convivo, ma che non conosco.
Fellini opens his audience with his ability to play for the sake of play. Due to their loose relationship with plot, Fellini's films find ample time to delight in the moments in between. This relaxes our habit of thinking forward and looking back in search of answers and meaning. Instead, Fellini keeps us present and receptive to the magic of each individual moment, resensitizing us to the natural pulse and play of life. This also gives the impression that the filmmaker is alive to every moment in his films, and they contain nothing that is merely functional. We never feel that Fellini represents us with a picture of life, but that life is being created in front of our very eyes.
Io non credo che il termine improvvisazione abbia a che fare con il processo della creazione artistica. Direi che è necessaria la disponibilità, cioè alla cosa che sta nascendo. Per giudicare, l'unico criterio estetico che io mi sentirei di approvare per giudicare un'opera d'arte non è tanto dire bello o brutto, ma se è vitale.
We don't experience Fellini's films with our minds alone, but with our whole bodies. His frames overflow with an infectious movement, and he maintains an intensity of feeling in both his exuberant and his intimate scenes. He is one of the very few filmmakers whose films I can feel on my skin, and I remember his amour chord almost as much in taste and texture as in image and sound. Fellini presents us with an endless parade of individuality. He makes our tendency to categorize useless, keeping us alive to each individual moment. Fellini reinvigorates our vision. Leaving one of his films, I never impose his carnival vision onto the world, but see the carnivalesque inherent in the world. Our world comes alive to us with the spirit of Fellini. Fellini increasingly relied on the artificiality of his medium as key to his magic, often pulling the curtain on the process itself. Although this keeps us from the escapist fantasy of disappearing in a film, the effect is never alienating. The enchanting experience is created in the relationship between two distinct beings, and it is by transcending this gap that we experience enchantment. By increasing the gap distinguishing his audience from his films, Fellini increases the potential depth of the enchanting experience. There is a scene in his 1987 faux documentary, Intervista, in which Fellini receives an unexpected visit from his favorite leading man, Marcello Mastroianni, now made up as Mandrake the Magician. The two decide to pay a visit to Mastroianni's La Dolce Vita co-star, Anita Ekberg. Marcello conjures a little screen in her living room on which they project scenes from the film they made over a quarter of a century ago. The novelty of the experience charms her at first, but when we arrive at their now iconic encounter in the Trevi Fountain, we see something brighter begin to burn in her. Something certainly alights in me.
L'arte è invece qualche cosa che ci conforta, ci rassicura, ci racconta della vita in termini estremamente protettivi. Credo che l'arte sia proprio il tentativo più riuscito di inculcare nell'uomo l'indispensabilità di avere un sentimento religioso e che l'arte, qualunque arte, esprime. Insomma.
Thank you for watching. These videos are meant as an open and ongoing exploration into stories and how to make them better. So please share your thoughts and experiences below. I've also written some accompanying essays on similar themes, which I will link to in the description. See you soon for more.